Today we are with my friend Aki. He's been running a honey business in Japan for a few years, and I thought it would be interesting to know a little about making honey in Japan. And so let's go straight to the questions. And Aki, could you just briefly introduce yourself and just tell us like why and when did you start this honey business?
Beekeeping. And I've started learning beekeeping around 8 years ago, maybe. Yeah, 8 years ago. And I worked in beekeeping company in my hometown Kumamoto. And I've worked beekeeping company in Hokkaido just a little bit, like a few months. And I've started my own business, beekeeping business 5 years ago. Around 5 years ago, I came here, Tokushima. I moved my house to Tokushima, and I've started my own business 5 years ago. Yes.
And so what has been the hardest thing for you when you try to set up this business, this new business? What are the steps that you took?
The hardest thing is, of course, you must prepare the beekeeping equipment. Like you must prepare the empty beehive. There are many equipments about beekeeping, like frame, beehive, and honey extractor. That's machine, honey extractor, and of course you need manpower, but we don't have the manpower. I do it myself. And what's hardest thing is to figure out good beekeeping place. I put my beehives on mountain, but mountain was not so good, and I changed to another place, like not near to river, just an open field on the mountain near to sea coast. I compared several places, and now I understand flat place along the river is the best. So that was the most hardest thing, and it takes time.
And then just briefly, like what is the reason why some places don't work and some others do work?
Because the mountain has many trees, and the mountain has many trees and many plants, but it doesn't have flowers always. Like May, June, July, mountain has flowers, but other months there are no flowers on mountain. So the mountain was not good for beekeeping, actually.
Right. So basically you do a first selection of all the places, which I guess it must be really tiring because you have to carry all these beehive everywhere, and the places must be really, maybe far from each other, and it's just not one place, there are many different places. So it's it sounds really, the first steps sound really the toughest.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. And so, how much, I mean, this process, which everybody I think can envision is a quite long process, and being by yourself, it must be even more hard. And like in terms of cost, like how expensive is this?
If you keep 150 beehives, I think you need at least 2 million yen. 2 million yen.
Okay,
2 million. Actually, it's not so big number. But
we're talking about like $20,000. Is it roughly?
It's 2 million yen is 20,000. I forget.
So I believe it's almost almost like a car, or it's like a car, right?
Right.
Okay, yeah.
$20,000. Yeah.
So it should be $20,000. Yes. Okay.
The cost is not so big, but you need the time. Time is a thing. I think you need at least 5 years, 6 years, 7 years practice. You need the experience of beekeeping. So time, the thing is time. Not money is not the thing. Time.
I see. So basically, you're saying that anybody who wants to start a business like this should have roughly some chokin, some money put away from a previous work. Better yet, like you had a previous experience in the honey beekeeping, and so that you can live off maybe what, for a year or 2 years without having any income?
I think 2 years. Yeah, at least 2 years doesn't have income. Maybe
Wow.
I think so.
So that's quite a long time. So it must be, you know, like you must be really focused on the decision to work as a beekeeper.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you know, 2 years, you know, you have no income, and if it doesn't work well, you might have no income in the future as well, right?
Yes, that's right. That's
Sounds
the
really
thing.
tough.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Okay, so today, how many kilos roughly do you produce?
Last year I harvest 1.7 tons honey.
Okay.
1.7 tons honey.
It sounds a lot.
So,
Is it a lot?
I think it's a lot.
Okay.
1.7 tons honey from 180 hives, and 180 colonies, and
wow.
I took 1.7 tons honey. Yeah.
And you can make a living. Like how roughly what is an income, a net income, not just by you, but like an average beekeeper, like your size. What would be an income, like roughly, a yearly income?
Basically, as a beekeeper, do as for fun なので、I think if you keep more than 180 beehives, maybe your income is around 25万円 ?25万円 means 200, ちょっと待って、25万 how much is it?
25万, that's per month. Is that correct? That's per month.
Yeah, 25万円
Okay.
per month.
Well, that's like roughly $2,000, a little bit more than $2,000. Now the dollar is a bit weak on the yen, but yes, so that's around $2,500. Yeah, well, that's not a bad income, you know, given that you like what you're doing and you have a passion for what you're doing. It's better than probably, you know, being a salary man somewhere that if you have that passion anyway. So that's quite interesting. So what is could you just tell us briefly, what is your daily routine? How is your daily work? What does pervade? Like, do you wake up at what time usually? What are the things that you need to do every day, or do you actually need to do things every day, or does it work like that?
You know, I have many hives, more than 100 beehives. So I should check every day. I should check beehives every day. I must open the beehive and I must check inside of beehive, how healthy it is. So I must check health condition every day だから、3 hours or 4 hours, 5 hours checks the condition, health condition. で、other working time is my product. I make my production. Like I put the honey into jars and I do labeling my production. Yeah, that's 5 hours outdoor work to check the bee, 3 hours indoor work to make my production. Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the salaryman life, and it's not maybe desirable like from somebody like you, but basically you work 8 hours a day just like a salaryman.
そうだね。Maybe I must work 8 hours.
But at least you do something that you're really passionate about. So my other question was going to be, so what are the things that are really a beekeeper really worries about? Is there stuff that you bring with you in bedtime and you're like, oh, I really hope that this doesn't happen? Like, I don't know, like a bear coming all of a sudden, or if there's a bad weather. What are the things that shouldn't happen, or that you just wish it wouldn't happen when you're a beekeeper?
Bad weather, yeah, actually definitely bad weather is a problem for beekeeping. Yeah, climate change and typhoon, water flood, and earthquake is the biggest problem だね。Yeah, definitely typhoon とか hard rain, long rainy day, no rain day とかは is biggest problem. And
what do you? What do you mean by climate change? What do you mean, like the temperature changing too much?
Temperature, if temperature and rain change, you know, flower doesn't grow up well. So point of beekeeping is flower of course, condition of honeybee, but also flowers condition. So yeah, too much rainy day, no rainy day is a big problem for beekeeping.
And in those
And
times, what do you do? What when that happens? What?
I can do anything. I can
Okay.
do anything. Just because there are no food for honeybees, sometimes I must feed them the sugar.
So like, what would be an advice to the people who would like to, get into the honey business in Japan, and also like for regular customers, like should I always buy a local farmer the honey, like homegrown, like you're doing, and if so, what is the reason? Why should I buy it? I guess there must be like plenty of reason why to choose your honey versus commercial honey.
The commercial honey, I've never checked about the inside of factory of commercial honey, but I've heard the rumor about they mix with something like not real honey. They mix, yeah, they can. I think they can use some real honey, but they mix with some maybe sugar water とか。they mix with wrong thing. だから commercial honey, you should doubt it. You should doubt commercial honey is fake honey. You can doubt. And actually, I do beekeeping myself. I can recognize my honey and the commercial honey taste is very different.
I see. Yes, because I would guess your honey, you have no other let's say artificial substance that you add to it.
I don't add.
Right. And so what would be like if somebody would like to, like, what would be an advice that you give somebody who would like to, get into this quite tough and but I guess exciting type of work, especially in Japan, which people don't think there's a lot of land in Japan, but actually there are regions and entire islands like Tokushima that have plenty of lands. What would be just one advice that you would give them?
なんだっけI didn't understand the question. ちょっと待って、please give me one more. Yeah.
Oh, just like an advice, a simple advice you would give somebody, a newbie, if he wants to start a business of honey in Japan. What would you tell him if you?
Advice for beginner beekeeper ね。
Yes.
I say the climate change is the biggest problem about the beekeeping, but one more problem is relationship to neighbor. Relationship to neighbor is a problem. Somebody calls the police to you is very common thing for all beekeeper. Not only me. I had the experience about it. Maybe Christian,
yeah, I know a little bit. Yeah, I know a little bit. let's tell the audience why would they do that? For example, like maybe a passerby was being stung by a bee, and somebody said, "Oh, that was your bee that stung that old man," or somebody was going by, something like this.
Yeah, something like that. Or if an old man gets stung by honeybees, they don't complain to honeybees. They complain to me. And kids get stung, maybe their protector like mother complain to me.
Right.
Why do you put a beehive along the road? Maybe they complain. And yeah, that's the problem. That's you must mind if you do beekeeping. So how should I say? You must hide. You don't make it obviously.
I see. Yeah, because
I shouldn't say, but it's important.
Yeah, that's something, but definitely you would probably advise a young beekeeper if he wants to get into this business. That's one of the things he needs to know. That's the cooperation with the other beekeepers and the other people in the same area, where everybody has, they have an atake, they have the land where they're cultivating something, and on one corner there's your beehive, and they may bother somebody there. So the relationships are really important in the community. Well, that's
So
good to
yeah,
know.
I think so yeah. Relationship とか
Mm.
yeah, you must excuse to neighbor. You must excuse and you must you must have the good relationship to neighbor.
Right.
That's a
Yeah. That's very very understandable, especially in Japan. You know, like where the community, it's really important in the countryside. It's so
yes.
much important. It's great. Look, would you like to show your product and on camera now, like and maybe if you want to take a tour, like just show us a little bit your honey bees near your house. That'd be great.
Yeah, okay. Then first I show you my honey. This is
Yeah.
my honey.
Great. What is the name?
Kodo Bee Farm. Kodo Bee Farm. Kodo means I think I explained to you, but Kodo means the path of sun. Sun come from east and go down to west. The path of sun is Kodo. We call it Kodo. So honeybee sees a direction from sunlight. So I like this story. That's why I use Kodo Bee Farm.
Awesome. And now you're walking towards your honeybee. Let's hope the connection still holds. And it might not hold. And I guess we have to stop it right here because the Wi-Fi didn't reach as far as the beehive. And but thank you so much, Aki, for talking to us. And well, I hope we'll might get another shot at this and get a closer look at your hive. Thank you so much for today, though.